Welcome. Nathan Clark here from Overtime Fraud, Senior Consultant, Integrity and Protection. And we are going to tell you today about a time that we saved a business millions of dollars in loss revenue to overtime fraud. Here's our founder, Adrian. Adrian, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Now, there are organizations out there that are regularly spending millions of dollars a year on overtime. They have thousands of employees, potentially tens, if not hundreds of thousands of overtime transactions coming through, and no easy way to find fraud. Tell me about an organization that we helped out who was in that situation.
Yes, the problem of overtime fraud is that every transaction has an approver who's made an approval. So an audit team has no way of even knowing where to start because every transaction has some accountability on already.
So what was overtime fraud able to bring them that they didn't have?
Yeah, so all we need and all we got from them was their transaction data. So we took 2 years of their transaction data and we specialized in AI derived algorithms and which identify fraud. And we ran them through our computational model and it found those little invisible patterns that lie behind the data and identified who was committing fraud.
Fantastic. Now we're going to get to those exact numbers that we discovered, but can you just walk us through the transaction data that they provided?
Yeah, it's really simple. All we need is who made the claim, what date did they claim, how many hours did they claim, what was the total value of that claim, and who approved it. And then if they would like a final descriptor, so like business, business area, location, or job title. Yeah, so that this client gave us like business units.
And I just want to point out that that's an extract they give us. We're not integrating into their system. It's just an upload to us of that data de-identified, and we manage it from there.
100%.
Now, we've got a dashboard overview here that we provided the client. Can you just give us a quick walkthrough of what we're looking at?
Yeah, so we start out by giving them just an overview of what is happening in their data. So as you can see on the left, there's some time series analysis of the hours that have been claimed and the overtime expense of those claims, where those expenses are going. They gave us business units, so you can see the operations area was the largest area for consuming overtime, and then the fraud risk. And we found that the facilities management team, although only having 10% of the total expenditure, had the overwhelming fraud risk.
And this is a more detailed view of what we gave the clients. What is this showing us?
Yeah, so initially you can see that they had 11,000 people who claimed overtime in the data set. So you can see why their audit team had no chance of finding them. And they'd claimed over 700,000 hours and over 50 million bucks of overtime. And the little number there is like 9,424. So that is the people who are considered low risk. And which is always true, the vast and overwhelming majority of people
Absolutely
have no risk of committing fraud. But those 34 people down the bottom, they're the ones which we identified as being of very significant concern. And so on the right, we laid out the first dozen, and they get a big report with all of them. And as you can see, the risk score there is 300 and over 350, and we think that anything over 100 is a credible risk. So yes, that person had 3.5 times an acceptable level of risk. And when they started looking through those top dozen or so, they started to find that there had been a significant fraud in the organisation.
And this is where we do get stuck into the numbers that we uncovered there. Can you walk us through the impact, Adrian, to that organisation?
Yeah, so they were able to verify that about $500,000 had been fraudulently claimed in overtime, and one employee had stolen about $250,000. So that enabled them straight off the bat to stop their losses from escalating further, and also allowed them to consider how they were going to discipline those staff and also recover the funds. And because they acted swiftly to come to us, they were able to stop millions of dollars of future losses. And so in the end, they had three good successes: covering some money, identifying the losses, and then turning the tap off of what was quite a large fraud.
And that volume was taken, and was it 18 months, Adrian?
Yeah. So been quite a lot of losses in that time, but unfortunately, with these kinds of frauds, they tend to continue to ramp up because the people committing fraud become more cavalier because they haven't been caught, and so I think, well, no one's coming after us. We can even ramp it up
Onto
further.
a good thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and that only took us a week to turn around, or even less, just 2 days. So it was very quick. You can go from having a concern to knowing where your risks are within 48 hours. And all you need to do is hit on a little button on our website that says contact us, and we'll be very happy to talk with you and sort out your risk.